What's up, MFFLs? Harrison and Coop here with you. It is mailbag time. We're going to answer some questions here, so use hashtag Mavs or Super Chat to get your questions on the show. We'll answer as many as we possibly can. From Noob Roblox. Do you want Claxton, Allen, or Zubac? If I had to rank it without factoring in, like, how much it's going to cost to get each of them, I'd go Allen 1, Claxton 2, Zubac 3.
Yeah, I think I would rank them the same way, and I think they all would have their perks for the Mavs as well. Allen would be a kind of a do-it-all sort of guy. Nic Claxton, one of the best young bigs in the league, and Zubac, I think, would fit well, especially with Luka as a pick-and-roll kind of guy.
Claxton's like a 5 years younger Capella.
Yeah, kind of. I like that comparison.
And I think he's a little more athletic, actually.
I like that comparison. You would have to pay Claxton a lot of money, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, 4 for $80? You'd probably have to give him the deal that Pirtle just got, maybe
basically
even more.
Yeah, I think that's what you'd have to end up giving him. And I think I would give him that. Now, that would put the Mavs in luxury tax hell, and I'm not sure Mark Cuban would want to do that. But
yeah. Pay up, Cubes. Mark Westbrook says,
I like this one.
Mavericks just traded JaVale McGee for Giannis. I can't believe it. Fixes all our problems.
That would fix every problem.
Yeah, listen, if only. If you turned off trades on 2K, this could work. But
in all seriousness, there is some chatter that Giannis may not sign an extension, and if he does not, that will spark the trade rooms.
Last time this happened, though, like, oh, is he going to commit to a Supermax, yada, yada.
He did.
He also won a championship.
That happened.
And I think this year the Bucks are under the microscope again. I think this could be a Mavs-Bucks revenge tour year where Luka and Giannis are like...
We'll see you in June, Giannis.
See you in June. Let's go.
Thoughts on Derrick Jones Jr.?
JC89. Yeah, I mean, look, I think I mentioned him in the office the other day. Vet minimum athletic guy, Coop. I don't think he'd be a regular in the rotation, but if you need some extra athleticism, he can do that. He can run and gun. He can play above the rim as a wing. If someone gets hurt and you have to play him, you feel okay there. Not a great shooter, but listen, vet minimum guy who's actually played a decent amount. I would sign him.
Mavs have liked him for a long time as well. I mean, they've tried to get him a couple of times, so maybe he ends up coming to the Mavs this year on a minimum.
I'm in. Black Yoshi, Oubre to the Mavs. Look, Coop and I have floated the idea of you sign Oubre for like $8-ish million, throws Seth Curry's contract into the mid-level to combine with Oubre to line up the $12.5 million mid-level exception, and then you save the biannual for next year. Like, I would absolutely do that, Coop.
Yeah, I would love Kelly Oubre. Look, he scored 20 points a game last year. People are forgetting that. 20-point-a-game scores don't grow on trees. He can also defend the 2 and the 3 a little bit. I think he could start or come off the bench. So either way, I would be happy with Oubre. He's a versatile player that would provide a lot for this Mavs team.
Yep. Matty Ice, then we'll get to that super chat.
Yes, sir.
He says, should the Mavs trade for P.J. Washington? I mean, look, like, does a Hardaway and a couple of seconds, does that do it? Like,
you also have to balance, if you're trading for P.J. Washington, you are not getting a center on the trade market because you'd have to give up the significant part of your assets for that.
Yeah, now, you could conceivably keep your 2027 first, potentially, if Charlotte agreed, but you would not have contracts that would allow you to upgrade at center, at least not right now. Maybe at midseason you could flip Holmes, and maybe at that point you'd be willing to flip like Olivier Maxence Prosper, depending on how you feel about his development. But yeah, I think I don't think that that would be the best route to go. But I'm not opposed to P.J. Washington. It's just, if you do that, just know you're not upgrading center. I mean, I don't think you can do both, realistically. Fawns856, I think the Mavs should grab Bol Bol. Look, vet minimum, I'm in. JaVale McGee's not going to be on this team by all accounts. There's no bad vet minimum contracts. So
basically, and look, there were reports from Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports that said the Mavs were interested in Bol Bol at the NBA draft. They tried to get him and the 36th pick, but for whatever reason, that deal didn't materialize. I wouldn't hate Bol Bol. I think he has some NBA ability. He had the best year of his career last year.
He's a regular rotation guy for Orlando.
Regular rotation guy, played 70 games, started in 32 games. I think it would be a decent signing. Now, that doesn't really raise the entire floor of the Mavericks center room, which they kind of need. So, yes, I would do it, but it wouldn't be the only center move I'd make.
Yeah, exactly. Here's kind of how I view it, Fawns. Like, this team has carried Theo Pinson on their regular roster the past 2 years. Like, I love Theo. He's a culture guy, but Bol Bol at least has some game. So I think, again, a vet minimum deal, there's really no such bad thing. Frank 55.99, appreciate the super chat, Frank. Give Luka the shout out he proposed to his girlfriend. Yeah, we're still live on Friday recording this, so congrats
shout
to
out,
Luka. Get the 77s in the chat for Luka Doncic getting engaged on July 7th. I mean, look at that scene, Coop. Like, that's out of a movie.
That's straight up out of a Hallmark movie, and maybe this year is going to be a Hallmark year for Luka.
Let's go.
He's going to win everything. He's going to win the FIBA World Cup, the MVP, maybe an NBA title. Who knows?
Let's go.
I'm in.
Jackson 253, another super chat. Appreciate it, guys. Mavericks should bring back DeMarcus Cousins.
Sure. He's tearing it up in the Puerto Rican League.
I'll say it again. No bad vet minimum deal. Dwight Howard? Sure.
No
bad vet minimum deal.
I'll say this.
If Big Coop is watching, I know you want Dwight Howard.
Big Coop is the biggest Dwight Howard truther on earth. Yeah. I'll say this. I legitimately wanted Dwight Howard last year when the Mavs were looking for centers. Why not?
He's better than JaVale, even though he's been playing in Taiwan. I'm comfortable saying
he legit learned Taiwanese, went over there, and is still better than JaVale. I mean, I would take him over JaVale in a heartbeat, but we'll see.
Appreciate the super chat. Room. Can we snack Zach Edey from Purdue? Well, he went back to college.
He went back to school, yeah.
Look, good college player. There's a reason he's gone back to school for another year. He's just not athletic at all. I mean, it's kind of like Luka Garza, who's hanging on in the NBA.
Yeah, he's playing.
He signed a two-way. Like, I just what is Edey's absolute ceiling in the NBA?
I don't think Zach Edey can play in the NBA because I don't think he moves quick enough.
He can't play defense.
In college, there is no defensive 3 seconds.
You know what his comp honestly is? Boban.
Boban might be more skilled offensively.
Boban's more skilled, but I mean, you're hoping he becomes Boban.
Exactly. Boban is the absolute ceiling for Zach Edey. Look, he just can't move. I mean, if there was no defensive 3 seconds rule, yeah, you could just stick him in the paint and let him go block some shots, but that's unfortunately not the case.
That's why he'll probably be awesome international. He'll probably go overseas and
he'll
have
go over
a long
to Europe
career.
And make himself a lot of money if he wants, for sure.
David Hiram Reyes, is anybody forgetting about Frank Ntilikina? I wouldn't say we're forgetting Coop, but I think Dante Exum kind of is just the new Ntilikina. Now, look, if you need to fill a roster spot and you know what Frank brings to the table, sure, that's fine. I just don't think he's got a role on this team, really.
Yeah, once you signed Exum, I think Ntilikina was out the door. Ntilikina was decent his 2 years for the Mavs.
Look, in the playoff run, he played some valuable minutes.
He had to play because Josh Green just wasn't ready to go. Yeah, I mean, he gave the Mavs some valuable minutes. It's pretty interesting how it came full circle because I believe Ntilikina was the 8th pick, Dennis Smith Jr. was the 9th.
And they were heavily linked to both.
And they end up trading Dennis Smith a year and a half into his career, and then they end up getting Ntilikina as well.
Yep. Darth Walrus, if Luka wins a championship with Dallas, would he become your favorite Mav instead of Dirk Harrison? I mean, he'd have to stay here for 20 years probably for that.
The way that I have described this to people is I think Luka would have to win 3 titles to be equal to Dirk.
Yeah, and look, and it's nothing against Luka. It's just without Dirk, what is the Mavs franchise? I'm serious. Without Dirk, this is a bottom 10 franchise, I would say.
Yeah, they had a good run in the 80s. They were the worst franchise in professional sports in the 90s. And then
with Dirk, they won 50-plus 13 years in a row and made 2 finals, won a championship. You won an MVP. Changed the sport for bigs being able to shoot. It's hard to replicate Dirk's just pure genuinity too. He is a rare superstar, Coop, global icon that when Charles Barkley said this at his final home game. Barkley was one of the guys who spoke on the court after the game. He said, when y'all hear that how great of a dude Dirk is, he actually is that guy.
Yeah,
we hear that a lot, and it's not behind the scenes. You're he's actually kind of an asshole, he's a dick, whatever. Dirk is actually a good dude. He is a rare human being.
There will never be another Dirk Nowitzki. There just won't be. And like I said, I think Luka would have to win 3 titles to equal Dirk.
Be in that conversation. Peyton Stout, how well do you think Grant Williams plays this season? Last season he wasn't great, especially against the Heat.
He wasn't great against the Heat, but I still think he'll have a pretty decent year. I think he's going to have a bigger role here in Dallas than he did in Boston, so I think that'll free him up a little bit as well. The Mavs are going to ask him to do a lot. Like, I won't lie. He's going to have a lot of defensive responsibility, especially at the 3 and the 4.
But we know he's bringing that to the table on a nightly basis.
Yeah, he's going to bring the energy, and he's going to bring the intensity. So I would love that, and I think Grant Williams will have a big year for the Mavs. They went out and got him. They obviously tried to get Matisse Thybulle, but Portland matched that offer sheet. The Mavs are trying to upgrade their wings and their toughness, man, and I think it starts with Grant Williams.
And look, like, we'll see if he could take a leap scoring-wise. He's been a 7 to 9 point scorer the last couple of years. I mean, I think you'd like to get 10 to 12 points per game out of him with an increased role, but at minimum, he's going to be a great defensive player, and even if he's not a sniper, like, he's at least going to shoot 37% from 3. He's done that the last 3 years, and the last 2 over 39.5%. So I'm comfortable saying he's going to give you great defense, energy, and be at least an above-average three-point shooter. Ryan B, best truly obtainable wing defender. Honestly, it might be Terrence Davis. He's a 6'4". He's more of a 2, but he can play some 3. Really good defender, decent three-point shooter. I personally think he's a better defender than Kelly Oubre. Now, Oubre is longer. He's 6'7", and he's definitely better offensively, Coop. Like, I would rather sign Oubre, but in terms of a pure defender, I'd probably say Davis.
Yeah, Davis is probably the best one, and he'll be available probably on the minimum, maybe the biannual exception. So that's where I think he kind of goes up on that pecking order, is his
Get
affordability.
Yeah, for sure. So, look, I mean, in all reality, at least on the free agent market, now there could be some attainable wing defenders, Ryan, but for free agents, it's thin pickings. Like, there's not a lot of big name free agents left. I think if you get one of Davis or Oubre and maybe you end up making a trade, like, you've had a pretty damn good offseason.
For sure.
So that's kind of where you sit. All right, let's play this game. Name a random Mav in the comments before we let you guys go. Name a random Mav. Coop, before we end this cut, drop a random Mav in the comments.
Give me Theo Pinson.
Theo Pinson. Are you saying goodbye?
Saying goodbye, Theo. We love you.
I will go with Bernard James.
Good one.